Was it then during that when you were working there? Is that when you met Sir Richard Branson then originally?
Yeah, well, what happened was we had this particular design of boats that was being very successful in the leisure markets, and we thought that they could work and be very appropriate in the commercial markets and military markets, and particularly small, fast patrol boats because they were very stable and they turned well, and you could keep pop, pop, pop away. And so we thought, well, we had to try and introduce this hull form, this design, into the commercial and military markets. And one of the owners of the company was, again, quite a flamboyant character, and he said, why don't we build a boat and we'll go and break the famous old liner record from the US, from New York to Land's End, or to the Scilly Isles, which was the famous Blue Ribbon, which countries had all through the 20s and 30s and even into the 40s had competed who had the fastest way of getting across the Atlantic, obviously before jet aircraft. It was liners, and countries competed. The French competed against the British, against the Americans, against the Germans, against the Italians, and it was a very, very famous record before aircraft came along. And actually the record was last broken in, I think, 1953 by the Americans. They built this beautiful ship, still around actually, the SS United States, and it was all built very light and specially built to break the Blue Ribbon record. And she came across the Atlantic in the early 50s at nearly 37 knots, and that record had stood all the way from then until we went out in 1985-86 and broke it. And so we designed the boat. I started building it with the team actually down at Hamble on the south coast, and then Richard had just started Virgin Atlantic literally about 6 weeks before, and he realised that he couldn't really afford to publicise this new airline in the States. We were just flying from London to New York. It was fearfully expensive to advertise on US television even in those days, and he thought, well, why don't I sponsor this project, sponsor this craft, and see if I can get some publicity from that. So the boat was named Virgin Atlantic Challenger, and we set off after much humming and hawing in 1985, got within 130 miles of the Scilly Isles, and then sank. And we got fished out the drink by a helicopter and winched off and taken back to Scilly Isles, where we said, damn it, we'll do it again. So the next winter we built another boat, and in 1986 we did actually break the record. We had a pretty difficult crossing, and there's all sorts of problems with the fuel, and we were stopped in the water for 12 hours, but we did break the record. And I think that pretty much put Richard on the map as a household name. I mean, he was well known in the music industry before that, but I mean, we literally, every weather forecast, they had a little picture of the boat going, well, here they are now, and here they are now, they're still going. And there was huge publicity over it. And of course, he then went on to do all his ballooning exploits and so on, and began to become who he is today.